Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to Blaze Adams 24/7, baby, where the tea is piping hot. And even if it's not, it is, okay? But yeah, let's talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey Reunion Part 3. Specifically, when Frank Catania spoke up to say that he represented Joe Gorga during the FBI probe into Joe Giudice. And he spoke on behalf of Joe to say he never said a word. And of course, this comes following Teresa's accusations that the Gorgas actually were the ones to snitch on her and Joe. Now, this says everything to me because Teresa has never been accountable. But I thought after she returned from prison that she, had humbled herself, had come to terms with what had gone down and the guilt of her husband being that he was deported out of the United States following his jail time. But now, a couple years later, she's back on top. She's married now and looks like she has a lot of money. I don't know where all this money came from, even before Louie came into the picture. But she still has a thing for Melissa. Joe, I think, is a casualty of war, honestly, her own brother, because her hate for Melissa is so strong. I honestly believe that when Joe first hooked up with Melissa, I believe Teresa thought that Melissa was black. I really do. Because before Melissa opens her mouth, she looks like a black woman. She does. And she might very well be one. I don't really know. I don't know her background like that. But I do know that Teresa has had a problem with this woman. And from the things that I had heard early on in the beginning of it, because unfortunately I have been watching the show throughout the years, it seemed to me that Teresa didn't like her for no good reason. And the little digs she would make sometimes would have a racial undertone, in my opinion. But this comes by way of reality tea. I just want to talk about this article. Frank Catania was Joe Gorga's lawyer during FBI probe into Joe Guidice. He never said a word. The Reality Housewives of New Jersey Season 13 reunion was a wild ride. Teresa Giudice's husband, Louie Ruelas, kept everyone on the edge of their seats with his low-key threats. He denied hiring a private investigator, Bo Dietl, to discover all the skeletons hidden by his co-stars, but he bragged on camera twice that he did. Even Andy Cohen believed that Louie must have hired the investigator. Teresa claimed that her brother Joe Gorga and his wife Melissa played a role in sending her to jail. She said that Joe and Melissa were hanging out with her ex-husband, Joe Giudice's former business partner. Of course, if Joe Giudice hadn't broken the law, none of this would have happened. But Teresa has a serious estrangement from the truth. During the final reunion episode, Frank Catania dropped a bombshell when Andy brought up Joe being involved in sending Teresa and her ex to jail. Frank interjected, "Joe, do you release the attorney-client privilege?" Joe did, and Andy was shocked. He asked Frank if he was really Joe's attorney. Frank swore to God, so we know he's serious. Now, personally, I didn't even know Frank was an attorney. So I guess that tells you how much I pay attention. Unless it was never mentioned, I don't know. I assumed he was like in construction or real estate. But he said, "I was Joe's attorney at the time. We were contacted by the FBI in West Patterson. Joe was asked to come down to West Patterson to discuss, not Teresa. They just said Joe Giudice, okay?" Frank explained. In exchange, not even a hesitation, and Joe never showed up and never said a word. Melissa added, "And he never would." Then Joe told Teresa, "I loved Joe Giudice, no matter what you thought." Still, Teresa seemed unconvinced. "I know he would never try to hurt me," she said of her brother, but she still seemed to believe that just because Jacqueline Larita proclaimed it, it must be true. And kudos to Andy for calling out Teresa. "You suddenly standing for Jacqueline is like the joke of the century," he said. Amen. But this reunion was sad. Teresa and Joe failed to mend their relationship, and I'm still traumatized by the thought of Louie and Nono's sweatpants, chatting it up with Bo Dietl, and adding to Luis's supposed arsenal. So, yeah, the reunion as a whole was disturbing, okay? I feel like Louie is the common denominator. I guess you could say Louie and Teresa for most of the drama because of this ongoing feud that the Gorgas and the Guidices seem to have between one another. And it's crazy because Teresa is a Gorga. They're brother and sister. It's ridiculous. I think Melissa basically put up her armor once she realized that she was never going to get anywhere with Teresa. So, you know, I can't be mad at her, although sometimes she does get annoying. What do y'all think of Frank being Joe's lawyer? Did you guys know he was a lawyer? Am I the only one who didn't know? Okay. That's all I got. Till next time, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Bye.